Hi guys, it's Nicole, and today I have a layout to share with you and some news to tell you. I am now working with the Cut to You design team. These are digital cut files. Today I'm using the 12-month calendar cut file, and I kind of had a reason for this. If you've been following me for a while, you guys know that I'm currently in the middle of a Creating with Collections series, which is kind of my take on a kit, but instead of it being a kit, it's more of a page collection. I just finished my 2020 month in review layouts, and so when I saw this design in the online store, I thought it would be perfect to incorporate it into my Creating with Collections and make an album opening page for 2020. So after I finished my month in review layouts, I've got all the scraps from that collection, which is the Hello Today line from Simple Stories. So it's older, but I'm down to all the scraps. And so this is my first project with sort of my kit reset. And with cut files like this, you can kind of go a lot of different directions creatively. I chose for this layout to go pretty traditional and just cut it out with some white cardstock, which is then going to kind of keep it more prominent, I guess I would say. And then I'm going to go through all my scraps and find different pieces and different patterns to back most of the openings, and then I'm going to leave 4 of them open to do photos from our family photos from that year. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the colors in our clothing matching like the papers for my album opening. I pretty much just go to the family photos that we took that year that will show up later in my album. Pretty much they're just nicer photos of us that I can use on a quick layout to just kind of fill in that first page of an album. And these ones I don't do any kind of journaling on. A lot of times I just pick a photo of each kid, a photo of my kids together, and then like 1 or 2 of all of us together. And so this was kind of when I was trying to figure things out. I think originally I was planning on doing 5 photos. And so I just used a piece of tape to kind of mark those so that I wouldn't back them with paper. Later on, you'll see I ended up just going with 4. And then I feel like because I don't use cut files like this very often, I don't have a good like go-to method. So I'm a little slower with these. I do try to either trace the inside of the design or trace the outside of the design, and I try to stay with one or the other, because then it just kind of makes it easier for me to figure out, okay, where do I need to cut? If I was using like new papers or larger size scraps, I would have just dropped these onto my silhouette mat and cut the inside pieces of the file. But because I knew that I was trying to use up scraps and kind of get as much of this sort of Kill a Kit collection used up, that this was going to be the better method for me, especially on the ones where I was centering like an icon piece or something like that. So here I have backed the ones that I know I'm going to have paper on. Again, one of those I'm going to go back and fill in. And then I just went to my like stash of papers that I kind of think of as more for backgrounds and grabbed a dark wood grain piece to use for my background. And then here I've got my photos that I just did like a quick edit on and printed with my little photo printer. And I am going to have to kind of clean up the cuts of these after I glue them, but to me this is just kind of the quicker method. Like I don't need to trace around the photos because I've already backed the other squares with pattern paper. You're not going to see the fact that the photo overhangs in the background. And this was kind of when I figured out that I had that extra opening, and I was like, I really don't want to go and try to find like one extra photo. I'd rather just kind of give myself another area to play and have fun and decorate. And typically this is what I do is I put glue on the back of the cut file and then hold it over the paper or the photo and kind of center it up and frame it and then like smush it down. And then anything else that kind of hangs out, I wait for the glue to dry and I just go back in with my scissors and kind of clean it up, or I'll take like an X-Acto knife and kind of clean up the edges. I'm not really super detailed about it. I like all the texture and I like all the different layers and stuff, and it just ends up being really fun. So here, like I was saying, this last one, I just grabbed a like grid pattern paper and put it on there, and you can see the paper overflows, but I'll cut it off later. And then from there, I knew that I wanted to, again, keep chipping away at all this leftover paper that I have. So I wanted to die cut some more of these little DIY chipboard hearts that I'm still obsessed with. I'm kind of running low on like the pre-cut ones. A lot of times I'll sit here when I'm waiting for like video files to render, I'm waiting for something to upload to YouTube. I will go through and just cut a bunch of hearts out of white paper, and then when I need specific patterns or colors, I go through and do like this, where I will tape it in place on a color that I need for that like top layer. And these hearts are so small that I'm able to get a ton of them cut out of these scraps, so it's not really using up a lot of the paper, but I enjoy them. I'm getting all these like weird little pieces. I'm able to use them up in like a creative way. And to me, they're just, I like the fact that I can customize them with the pattern papers for the collection, and I can kind of put them all over everything. They're kind of like a fancy homemade enamel dot in that sense, I guess. I could go easy and do some enamel dots, but I don't know. Cutting those hearts is just, it's relaxing. It's kind of like these, like here you can see where I was talking about, I go back with scissors and just cut off anything that overhangs. Backing cut files like that is relaxing to me as well. A lot of times this is how I catch up on YouTube watching. I will kind of pick a channel that I haven't watched a whole lot of videos from recently, and I will just kind of binge watch the last month of their uploads, and then I'll go to another channel and kind of keep going through. From there, I was ready to go ahead and put the whole cut file piece down. I don't need to back anything anymore. And then I'm going to start going through and just kind of embellishing different areas. A lot of times when I do something like this, like a grid style or cut file like this, I tend to think of each little square as kind of like a separate little mini layout in a sense. Or I will look at them and do more tone on tone. So like the yellow one, I kind of kept more yellow type things on it. The blue one, I kept more blue things on it. I did use up some phrases and some phrase stickers that were still left over. And then almost always, for some reason, my album openings, I just do a title of hello and then the year. It works for me. It's quick. It's simple. Like I said, this is literally just a placeholder for that first page when you open up an album. Again, I wanted to keep chipping away at my pattern paper scraps, so I knew going in that I wanted to make my own letter stickers, thickers. You guys know I love it. I love stacking die cuts and then doing like a pattern paper layer on top. DIY thickers. You can call them dickers. You can call them whatever you want. Again, they're just relaxing and fun to make. And I will typically do 3 layers of just white cardstock, and then the 4th layer is my pattern paper layer. And sometimes I use really thin white cardstock, sometimes I use the good stuff. I kind of keep like a little stash of scraps from when I cut out journaling strips, and I tend to try to use that up before I go to like a full sheet of new paper. And then these alphabet dies are new to me and I love them. Some of the letters have like a cute little like swoopy thing. There's a name for it. I can't think of what it is. Somebody knows the name and they can put it down in the comments. But this is, you know, this is the part that I find relaxing is I just, again, my phone is off to the side. I am watching and listening to other crafting YouTubers and just I like this repetitive type of thing. And then I like the fact that by making my own letters, in a sense, I have the ability to choose the font. I can choose the thickness. I can choose the paper. If I wanted to, I could have gone and found some glitter cardstock. I could have found like, do you guys remember how you used to be able to get like fabric paper? I think I have some stashed because I knew that it would be good for die cutting letters. In this instance, I am doing the best that I possibly can to kill this collection. So I am using the scraps to make my own embellishments for a lot of things. So making letters is like just an easy go-to for me. And then I just picked one of the squares that kind of had a more like boring or blank pattern paper behind it. And then I just am continuing to try and chip away at the stickers that I have left on those 2 sticker sheets between the Hello Today and the quarantined line. And then if I can't find stickers on there, I will fussy cut images out from the cut apart cards or make my own stuff. So in this instance, I made my own letters and I'm going to make my own heart embellishments. I was able to use up some more of the adhesive brads. I think I got 3 of them on this layout. So I think I have like 5 or 6 left. Whenever I do this series, my intention is to use up as much as I possibly can to kind of give you guys inspiration for looking at your collection kits in different ways. And then, yeah, from there, I just went to town with all those little hearts that I love. I tend to go with like the 2 smallest sizes, but I did cut some of the bigger ones to kind of try to force myself, like, if you cut with the bigger ones, you're using more paper and you're getting it used up a little bit more. So I did go and I think there's like 5 sizes on that heart set. So I think I did like the smallest 3. Sometimes the bigger ones I have a hard time with, but I think I have an idea that I kind of want to do on a different layout with this series. I just need to figure out photos to use for it. From then I cut a strip from one of those quarantined papers that I had barely used, and then I took a notebook border punch and punched a border so that it, I don't want to say mimic, but it kind of goes with the theme and the feel of the cut file that I used, with it being kind of like a notebook looking, it says calendar, but I kind of looked at it as like a bunch of little notebooks. And so I felt like having a border punch up there would be a good kind of matchy type of thing. And then I took 2 really thin strips of like scrap paper and layered them up there. And then I went through my Simple Stories alpha stickers to try to find some of the tiles, but they were the wrong color. Surprise, surprise. I'm using all Simple Stories stuff and I just couldn't find the right color. And so I pulled these super old, I think they're authentique, and got 2020 out of there. And I'm going to move these things around over and over and over again before I'm finally like, just stick it down somewhere and move on. Like, just stop. So this is my completed layout. I'm excited to be working with this group of crafters. I'm excited to challenge myself with using my silhouette more this year and finding ways to use cut files that go with my style. So as always, I thank you guys for watching, and always be sure to check out the description box for links to everything and more information, and I will catch you guys later.